Polyp Woods here. And here we go with chapter 1124 of One Piece entitled Best Friend. So we have a continuation of the Yamato cover story in which we are on volume 12. Only child Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine pilgrimage foiling a kidnapping on the way to Curry. And we see Yamato protecting a young woman as a mysterious figure is fleeing into the forest. So, wonder what that is about. That's a little interesting. I keep forgetting how humongous Yamato is because this woman looks like a child under her. Quite interesting. But moving on with our chapter, we're going to talk about Morgan's being kind of evil and taking the opportunity to make bank off the fears of the world flooding. But he doesn't care because he owes one of the few flying machines in the series of One Piece. Very funny, though. It's funny. It's funny how evil and opportunistic he is. But that's the news, baby. It's very cool. I like the characterization of him. And I like how he clashes so roughly with Vivi, who's not about that at all. It says, no one's going to read your paper. No one's going to be dumb enough to believe your lies. Which, I mean, you can't really, twist the truth in this situation because Vegapunk just told everybody what's up. You know? But hey, I mean, propaganda is propaganda. On top of that, Wapol is very nervous about his only safe haven being disrupted by Vivi, but she does not care. She will not have a liar in her midst. And I find this clash of ideals very interesting. He even threatens to, give her up if she gets too rowdy, which I wonder would he actually do that. I really do. Because I'm wondering now, if that were to happen, would she get a bounty on her head? Because it seems really easy for that to happen. It seems like that's going to be the conclusion of things. Because based on her need to be told that she's a D, and I guess that would lead to her eventually joining the Straw Hats again, because she's too relevant and she's been in here too long for her not to be a main character. So that's why I strongly think she's going to join the Straw Hats again regardless. So that's probably gonna happen. Or something up to that effect, because I can't imagine that not going anywhere. You kind of see what I'm saying? So, yeah, no, it's interesting. And then he's going to tell the news about Blackbeard and Trafalgar Law, Shakes fighting Kid, and then Luffy killing Vegapunk, even though that was a very, very big lie, and Vivi calls him out on that. Going back to Egghead, and this is where I have to apologize to a lot of people for, Kizaru was conflicted during the entire confrontation. Many people clocked that because it was kind of obvious. I was too busy having fun at his expense, but no, he really was torn up about it because Sakazuki calls him up. He's questioning why Borsalino's answering the phone. We actually see Sentomaru roboing away in a similar fashion to how Luffy started his journey. He even has a barrel on the little ship that he's on. However, he is too big to get in said barrel if he is hit by a whirlpool. So good luck, Sentomaru. I'm glad he's not dead. Sentomaru is cool. I loved him during this entire arc. He was really cool. Stand-up dude. Yeah, everyone is still knocked out, which is weird that Sentomaru isn't. Thinking about it now. And then again, he wasn't really an antagonistic force, so maybe that's why he wasn't aligned as an enemy of Luffy at that point, and I guess of Joy Boy, so he wasn't affected by the hockey burst, maybe. Yeah. Borsalino informs Sakazuki that everyone's knocked out. Sakazuki asks about Saturn and the power station, and Borsalino just says, well, when the youngsters get up, they'll give you a report. And then Sakazuki accuses Borsalino of slacking off, which is, man. Ooh, somebody else may be defecting the Marines too. Because then Borsalino just asked Sakazuki, I'm curious, have you ever had to kill your best friend? Which gives Sakazuki pause. And then we get a mini flashback of Kizaru and Vegapunk together. And they met shortly after, I guess, Mads was busted up. Because in this flashback, we see a very young Vegapunk and a very young Borsalino. So I wonder, is this, yeah, right after Bass? Because Kizaru can't be no younger than like 20 or something here. Because the beanie indicates that he's a pretty young man. I think when he's wearing the beanie, he's a vice admiral or a rear admiral, if I recall. It's been a minute. But yeah, no, he's a young man here. So he's known Vegapunk for his entire life, basically, which explains why all the pacifistas have his lasers. Because I bet the most studied Logia probably has been Kizaru up to this point. That's how you get the holograms and all that. So, man, which too is a reflection of Kizaru, because Kizaru himself, which is a very unique Logia power, it's the first time we've seen any Logia clone themselves in the series. But yeah, he too can make holograms. So it's very interesting. And then we see him too, where Borsalino, I'm assuming, first becomes an admiral, and Vegapunk is letting him in on what he plans to do with the island. He plans to call it Egghead, and we see him along with Kuma and Sitamaru helping build the place. And we see it with Bonnie, and then we see when Kizaru just skewers him with a light beam. The crazy part is we see the silhouette of Vegapunk falling in Kizaru's glass, which is nuts. Oh, that's a strong paddle, bro. That's a strong paddle. Oh, man. Oh, man. And Kizaru goes back. We get back to the call with Kizaru. And he says, "You think I'm slacking off, Sakazuki? Well, if you have time to waste doubting me, come see for yourself, you ingrate." This is the first time in the series in which Kizaru is showing any emotion. There is no poker face here. Oh, I never thought we'd see the day. I never thought we'd see the day where Kizaru actually emotes. This is crazy. I don't know, brother. I don't know. Will he defect like Kuzan? I really do wonder. And where will he go? I mean, it's not likely, but man, woo-wee, I don't know. I don't know, because this is the first time where he's seeing the bad side of Sakazuki, maybe seeing what Kuzan saw. Sakazuki has paused and he apologizes. He says, "That's my bad, brother." And Kizaru just says, "Watch your mouth." Puts the boss in his place. Yeah, because like, I know you, bro. We grew up together in the Marines. Don't sass me. I just had to do some terrible things. But you know, that shows you like Sakazuki does not care, which is so, I want to see what his backstory is, because he's so like dedicated all the time, and yet he gets chewed out by everyone, especially people who grew up with him, which makes sense because we all know who you are, bruh. Don't act brand new because you've got a new position. I don't know, I'm on Kizaru's side with this. Akihito sucks, bruh. So yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen with Kizaru from here on out. Him defecting just seems so unlikely, but I don't know, stranger things have happened. Did you ever suspect Kuzan to be a Blackbeard pirate, you know? But he doesn't really fit any of the current positions out there. Like, I can't see him as a revolutionary either or anything like that. I don't know, maybe he just won't. But I want to see where he goes, because we've got quite a few Marine characters that we need to be dealing with at this point. We have Groose and Hibari and Kobe and Tashigi and X-Drake. We got all a sword, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the next generation is going to pan out, because the old guys got to make room for the new guard. But this takes us back to the Sunny and the giant ship. It's pretty quiet. And here we have Cowboy Frankie, American Frankie. I love it. I love it. Oh, that's cool. So Frankie, Jinbei, and Zoro are just having conversation about the events that have just transpired. Frankie is relieved that they got out of there alive, considering the circumstances. And Jinbei, in his infinite and witty addition to the conversation, says, like he doesn't say anything. I gotta ask. And we've talked about this on the podcast too. What is up with Jinbei just not talking? Like, we've waited so long for characters to just talk to one another. Here we are. Here's the point for characterization for Jinbei. Doesn't do anything. Whereas Zoro has a very cold line in which he says, "It's pathetic now that Luffy's upset about an old man dying." Zoro is crazy. And someone says that's a bit harsh. It is a bit harsh, but I like that for Zoro. I like that a lot, because I like that Zoro recognizes that the crew is a Yonko crew. The crew is a superpower in the world right now. So Luffy should behave as such. I like that for him. I like that he's constantly keeping Luffy in check. That's good. That's good. Something that people said Jinbei would be doing. How did that turn out? Huh? How did that turn out? Ridiculous. Anyway, it characterizes him as the true second in command. That's kind of cool. I like that. I like his perspective. That's more to say than I'm with you there. Like, Frankie's analyzing the situation, Zoro's being rough on Luffy as the captain, and Jinbei's just sitting there. So let me get this straight. On Egghead, you see an abomination that is cloned after yourself. Your identity has been stolen to make a super weapon that presumably will further persecute your people, and you have nothing to say. You have no odd feelings about what has just transpired. Isn't that weird? You don't even agree with Zoro about Vegapunk dying because you had so much to say when Vegapunk was alive about the wrong subject because he was worried about Vegapunk creating the internet or whatever. And I'm like, brother, that's not even important. You were stolen. Your identity, your powers, your face was stolen to make this abhorrent mutant in front of you, and you have nothing to say. Nothing to say at all. Not a thing. Mr. Human and Fishman cohabitation activist has nothing to say about a human stealing his identity to make a super weapon in his image that has all the knowledge of the martial arts of his people. Like, we can't be serious. Like, this is not a serious situation. What is this character? This is a bad character. I keep telling you all, that movie's coming. I'm making the movie. But it's just like, come on, bruh. Nothing to say. Not a word. If you are waiting for Jinbei to grow a character, I feel bad for you, son, because it ain't gonna happen. If that doesn't get him to talk, nothing will. That is crazy. But moving on. Well, at least he's helming the ship, sitting down. All right, whatever. Lilith wakes up, which is great. And here we have something that I was worried about. I even made a video about this. Lilith has the boots off. Thank goodness. She has feet under the boots. They aren't grafted onto her ankles. Great. I'm glad she has feet. I was so concerned about that. I don't know why, but the idea of her not having feet was a disgusting thought to me. I hated that. But yeah, she wakes up. Everyone relieves that she's awake because we see Usopp, Chopper, Nami, and Sanji, who is swooning over her. And then she gets a signal from her headphone, which that might be built into her head. I'm not sure. Though, oddly, that doesn't bother me as much. I gotta be honest, it doesn't. It doesn't. But I guess she's getting communication from Punk Records, or a signal is being sent from Punk Records. And that's when the Straw Hats tell her that she was the only Vegapunk that they were able to save. Lilith is broken up about this. She cries. And that's what Usopp says. What we've all been thinking. How are you the evil one again? Thank you, Usopp. Because she's like the most complex one we've seen. Like her and York. That's why I've always been on their side as the ones to survive the whole Egghead incident. Because they're the ones who got the most characterization throughout the entirety of Egghead. We just need to know now where York is, as well as several other characters. But we'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, she needs to cry for a little bit. So she cries over the loss of the Vegapunks, and it immediately gets over it. It says, I'm hungry. So it theorizes that must be because she's no longer connected to York. They also are surprised, too, that she got over it that fast. And then it says, well, we have a lot of food because the Giants left us a lot of large fruit to eat. And I just want to take a moment to talk about this. This is going to be the first time she eats for herself. This will also be the first time she has to poop for herself. Think about that for a moment. Someone who's never pooped before is going to have to poop for the first time. I wonder how traumatic that's going to be for her. Because I can't even fathom the thought of someone who has never pooped before having to poop for the very first time on their own. That is a horrible thought. And she's got a bit of a wagon on her too, so it's going to be hard wiping back there. Oh no. That's what I'm titling the video, because that's crazy to think about. Oh my God. She's going to have to poop for herself from now on. Oh, that's weird. I wonder if she comment like, oh, that's why York was made, because pooping is such a drag. Because that's just an odd thought, you know? But getting back to the table of giant food, I love giant food piece. Giant food piece is so peak. The atmosphere is gloomy because Luffy is upset that he couldn't save Vegapunk. We see Luffy with a giant grin. Yeah, he's been taking it pretty badly. And then Lilith says, a second ago, I was crying because I was sad about everyone's deaths. However, it's all a matter of perspective. Here's the truth. To put it simply, everyone's alive. And that's when everyone freeze frames and reacts and says, like, what? Even if they're functionally dead, what Lilith says is that you kept your promise to me, so don't be glum, Luffy. And just talking about that, though, I love how the whole ship reacts to. That's great. Both ships. But it's funny because that is never explained, but it makes sense because all the Vegapunks were the same person. So technically that means there are two of the same person running around because York is still a Vegapunk. But with that being said, this, for the little information that we have on how that even works, makes enough sense, I guess, because Lilith is Vegapunk. It has all the same capabilities as Vegapunk, despite, I guess, not technically having the brain fruit, but having the brain fruit. Because Punk Records has the brain fruit. Technically, not even Vegapunk Stella has the brain fruit, even though I'm willing to bet his body would still react as if he ate the fruit. But yeah, I don't know. Lilith is Vegapunk. Great. So they saved Vegapunk, I guess, because that's what Lilith is confirming happened. So it's cool. And Luffy's happy about it. So great. He did not fail, even though he kind of did, but he didn't. I don't know what to think about it. Luffy gets fired up and the feast commences. And Luffy confirms that he will be Pirate King as Robin is hugging Chopper rather roughly because she's excited that she's going to see Saul again. And yeah, we have our big party scene with everybody excluding Kuma, which I want to see how that turns out because we've got Bonnie here, we've got Frankie, we got the whole gang. Also, I was wrong. I have to admit, I was wrong. I did a video about this. I had said it would be perfect if Bonnie joined the crew in this chapter because this chapter's number does contain both of her ages, 12 and 24. However, that did not happen, so I'm sorry on that, bruz. Got it wrong. My bad. But I do think she's still gonna join because even her in the party scene here is kind of telling to me. But we'll see how that pans out. Do I think Lilith is going to join? No, I do not. I do think she should be involved with all the technological Straw Hats like Chopper and Usopp and Nami and Frankie. She should have some effect on them, seeing as how she is on the ship. I do love the fact that Frankie is wearing a cowboy hat because he is going to be his father-in-law on this island. So it's very touching that he's wearing something that Robin used to wear in honor of Saul. If you didn't get the joke, I'm alluding to Frankie and Robin being married and Saul being his father-in-law. That's what I'm getting at. It's a joke. Don't get excited. But yeah, I do find that great that he's wearing a hat that's reminiscent of Saul and Robin. I think that's very cute. But yeah, bro. And then we have someone on the shore of Elbaf awaiting, I assume, the arrival of the Straw Hats and the Giants. So that's going to be pretty cool for the future. And we got a break next week, which is unfortunate. But it is what it is, you know, breaks happen. But now, do I think we're going to Elbaf? No! I think we're going to Elbaf as far as the Straw Hats are concerned. I don't think there are going to be any detours because I do think Elbaf is going to be one of those big Wano style arcs because there's so much to cover with Giant Lore. There's so much genealogy we need to cover. There's just so much to do. So I don't think we're going to get any detours in that respect. However, we need to get glimpses of so many things across the world that we probably won't get to Elbaf proper until like chapter 1129 or 1130, you know. I just don't think so because we got to go to Empty Bluff. We got to talk about Law. We got to talk about Blackbeard. We got to talk about York and Saturn, what's going on with Egghead. We need to talk about so many things. Did York get eaten by Caribou? Is York going to become a celestial dragon? I don't know. I hope she becomes a Blackbeard pirate. I'm still gunning for that. I want that so badly. It may not happen, but we'll have to see. We need to see where Stussy is. Now, if we see a bat fly over the horizon towards this ship, I made some Stussy videos. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I don't think Stussy is going to be like a international super spy from here on out. I just don't think so. I think after getting her blessing for Vegapunk, she's going to go her own way. Her joining the Revolutionaries doesn't really fit. Her joining any other pirate group other than the Straw Hats doesn't really fit, if you ask me. But we'll have to see. So I say all this to say there are a lot of loose ends that we need to tie up. I don't think there's too much we need to talk about concerning like Kobe and the rest of Sword, but that's something to think about because they are major characters moving from here on out. So yeah, lots of things to talk about, lots of things to discuss. So we'll have to see how that all shakes out. But yeah, I don't think we're going to go to Elbaf proper until like, 6 or 7 more chapters from now. But we'll have to wait and see. With that being said, I'll have videos as always for you during our break, and give me your thoughts and tell your friends to watch Polypede Works.